Julia here from JM2 Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I know things feel a little out of order. We are getting a ship with me on Monday. That is because I just got home late last night from a vacation in Southeast Asia with some of my best girlfriends. I'm a little frazzled, I'm a little jet lagged, but we are getting our stuff back together. These are some orders that came through while I was away. I, for the most part, had my stores on vacation, but I had them come on a few days before I got home just so some sales could still pop through, and some really cool sales and kind of older stuff moved, which was really interesting. But I can't wait to kind of walk you through what sold, how much it sold for, how long I had it, you know, really just bring you into that part of the process. And by the way, if you see a little extra chaos behind me, I don't know how much of that room you can see, is because my friends' suitcases are still all splayed out on the floor before they actually head back to their respective home states tomorrow. So thanks for bearing with me, and thanks for dealing with the odd order. I will be back to my regularly scheduled Thursday ship with me, Monday hauls, occasional other different things thrown in by the end of this week. But if this is the first time you were stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I'm Julia, that is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, it is later than my usual late. Again, I've got my friends staying here, so we had kind of a slow morning plus jet lag, all of the above. So I've got to get these things packed up and off to the post office ASAP. Like when I say it's late, it's like 3:30, so I gotta get moving. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipments. So the first thing that sold here is a cute two-piece bundle, and these are both J.Jill pieces. This is a J.Jill Love Linen palm print pant. This is actually going to one of you guys, so I hope you love it. This is a pull-on pant. It's a size 12 Missies, I believe that's how it was. Yeah, size medium Missies, which I wasn't super familiar with Mrs. sizing. If anybody can give me a better explanation as to what Missy's sizing is, I just haven't been able to find a really clear description of it. I know it's something that's not used all that often, but I do like to be able to be pretty specific when I list things. I want people to know what size they're getting, so let me know. I was able to find what it meant in J.Jill terms. The second piece she picked up was this great linen blend long line cardigan. Ugh. It just feels like such a dream. It's like a perfect transitional piece. It's not super fuzzy and can kind of go well for like warm weather or cool weather. Perfect condition though. I love picking up these kind of things from J.Jill. Again, you know, J.Jill, it's very expensive. This was probably over $100 new. And it's something that, like, if you are sourcing for a higher dollar amount, J.Jill might not be a space you wanna play in, right? I, for the most part, will get somewhere between $20 and $30 for most J.Jill pieces. There are some things that I'll get a little bit less for, and there are some things that I'll get a little bit more for, but in general, it'll be in between that like $20 to $30. And if you're sourcing at like $5 or $6 per item, it's a pretty slim profit margin. But for me, you know, I source generally $1, $2. I'm in that kind of bins price range or like dollar day range, and I have a lot of that available to me, which I'm super fortunate about. I know not everybody has that. But it's just something that I like to pick up J.Jill because they are expensive retail, and because, in my opinion, their quality is so nice. And the profit that I get from it is something that I am comfortable with. But I know that that's not the case for a lot of people, and I know that there's a lot of people that won't touch it. But it is something that I like to get. And I think a lot of you also like to pick up J.Jill, but again, it's gonna be dependent on like what price you're able to get it at. So the other caveat on J.Jill pieces is that I do try to source larger sizes from J.Jill. For example, I've had these both, I want to say 8 to 9 months each. I've had them for a while, and it's because effectively they're like a size medium. You know, generally sizes large, extra large, 1X, 2X, 3X from J.Jill, those will move a lot faster than something in the small medium range. I still grab them if the quality is really nice, if the piece is really exceptional. Again, just something always to keep, you know, in mind as you are outsourcing, just to make sure it works for you, your business, your storage solution, etc. So the total cost of these full price would have been $57, and the bundle price with my discount would have been $48. And we settled on a price of $44, which I was super happy with. Again, I had these both like 8 to 9 months. $2 total cost of the bins, and that brought my profit to $33.20. I think that they're really nice, and I hope she loves them and gets a ton of wear out of them. You know, J.Jill pieces are just, they're made to last. I just love them. Next up, now this is an interesting one. This is a sweatshirt that I've had for about a year, and the brand on this is Dim E Cress. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. I believe that they're a Korean streetwear brand. So niche, they retail really high. When I first saw it, I initially saw that. There is a US based streetwear brand called Dime, and that's what I thought it was because I saw that little logo on the back. And I get it home, and as it turns out, it's not from Dime. Quality on it is really nice. Like if you see on the inside, like that's not even a fleece lining, that's like a double face fleece. So that's like a gray heather fleece on the inside. It's really beautiful quality. It's got that mock neck. It's got a beautiful banded bottom. So it is a streetwear brand. It does retail for quite a bit of money. I want to say that this retailed probably in the $150 range. It's just a little bit more niche. It's not necessarily something I would have picked up had I known what it was, unless I was picking it up for myself. But either way, here we are. I learned a little bit more about this brand, and it is, again, a beautiful quality sweatshirt. But I did have it for a while. I had a lot of interest in it. I had a lot of likes on it. I had a lot of views on it, but no nibbles. And I've had it for a little over a year. So maybe not a brand I would tell you to go out and buy if you see it. I would be really interested to know if anybody else out there has ever seen something from this brand. You know, there's a lot of these kind of higher end Korean brands that like we see in this area because there is such a big Korean population. For example, if you're ever in California and you like Korean food or you like the Korean culture, in a town called Buena Park, there is a place called The Source, which is a fully like Korean mall. There are K-pop stores, there's Korean fashion stores. So like we see a lot of this more niche stuff here that I don't think you're really gonna see elsewhere in the country. But because sales on Poshmark and because sales, for the most part, in the resale world are predominantly US based, something like this, while it might be a pretty expensive and in-demand brand in Korea, it's not necessarily gonna move super fast here. Either way, it is in great condition. It's a beautiful sweatshirt, and I'm happy to be moving it along. So I had this again for just over a year, and I had it listed for $45. And I got an offer for $35, which I gladly accepted. I was ready to move this on. It's a little bulky. And with a $6 cost at the thrift, this brought my profit to $25.22. And again, let me know if you have ever seen anything from this brand before. I'm super interested. I think that this is very like hyper local here because we have such a big Korean population in the LA area. Next up here, this is something that moved really quickly. This is from Chico's. It's a beautiful like mixed knit, subtly sequined poncho in like brand new condition. These are the kind of things that I love from Chico's. Chico's is another one of those brands that's quite expensive retail, and I do try to source like larger sizes on this specifically. But when I find pieces like this, and this falls into that kind of kimono place where I love getting kimonos because they're generally a sizeless thing that I'm picking up, right? So this will fit somebody that's a size medium. It'll also fit somebody that's a size large, extra large. They just tend to move a little bit quicker for me in general. And this is a nice neutral color. It's got like a little bit of sparkle, but not too much. You know, again, it really hits in that like sweet spot where it's going to appeal to a lot of people. These are the kind of things that I love to find. And it's something that makes an outfit like special, right? It takes like a jeans and a t-shirt to like the next level. Close to $100, if not over $100 retail. So this little guy I had listed for just 1 month, and I had it listed for $35, and my sidekick sent an offer for $31. Again, love my Posh sidekick. And with a $1 cost at the bins, this brought my profit to $21.78. So I hope she loves it. I hope she feels really special in it. It is a really beautiful piece. Next up, this is one that my mom found. This is a little Ella Moss swimsuit. Ella Moss is a brand that I think is sold at like Nordstrom. It's pretty nice. It's not necessarily a brand I would pick up all that often, but my mom really liked the design, and you know, it's made really nicely. So she grabbed it. She got it during a dollar day, and it's kind of it's not like one of the super high-end swimsuits like an L Space. It is more of like a, you know, I guess like a mall brand swimsuit. So I'm interested in moving these out of my inventory right now. The higher end stuff will sell swim sells all year in general for me. I always think about it this way. People go on vacation all year. You know, if you're going to a place like Southeast Asia where I just came back from, it's hot all year round. You will be swimming all year round. So good quality swim will sell all year. Now I don't pick up, I'm very selective with the swim I pick up. Like this I probably would have left behind just because of the brand, but my mom doesn't know the brand, so that's fine. She's going purely on gut and she has a great eye. But you know, for me, I'm gonna be looking for the Jade swimsuits. I'm gonna be looking for the L Space. I'm gonna be looking for Triangle, all these kind of higher end brands that people really seek out. You know, of course, interested in moving out swimsuits right now as much as I can. So I have this listed for $24 and I got an offer for $20 after just 2 months with a $1 cost at Dollar Day from my mom. This brought my profit to $14.75. Super happy about that. Again, you know, not one of the real high dollar swimsuits, but glad to get a piece like this on, because Ellen Moss, while it is a mall brand, that still was probably close to $100 new. So they're still pretty expensive, so it's nice to be able to get stuff like that for a good price. Next up, this is something that I do quite a bit of, and in fact, this was given to me by one of my friends at the local bins, but this is a Helly Hansen hiking shirt. Now, if you're not familiar with Helly Hansen, that is the logo there, it's 2 H's. It's definitely a brand to be on the lookout for, especially in outerwear. They are, I wanna say a Norwegian brand? Yeah, made in Norway, and they specialize in cold weather activewear, like extreme activewear. So hiking, biking, skiing, etc. And their quality is really, really nice. If you are unfamiliar with them and you've ever been to Disney World, in the Norway Pavilion, now that I'm thinking about it, yes, of course, Norway. The Norway Pavilion sells Helly Hansen like rain gear. And you think about the climate in Norway, they really need stuff that performs. You know, their stuff is really, really made well. So this is just a little hiking shirt. So one of the less significant pieces of Helly Hansen that I've ever seen. But if you see that logo on like a ski jacket while you're out sourcing, or it's, you know, 10 or 20 bucks, I would say pick it up. They retail for like $200-300 minimum. They're very expensive. And their ski gear is even a little bit higher than that. I wanna say $300-400 at a minimum. So you will get a good price for that on the resale market. And the other good thing about Helly Hansen is like Helly Hansen has a style. They have a very distinct design language when it comes to their own clothing. So it's not something that's going to be trendy. Like that just doesn't exist in a Helly Hansen piece. They do very clean lines, very minimalist look. And it's something that like I can see somebody on the ski mountain. Now granted, I spend a lot of time on the mountain, but I can see somebody on a ski mountain from a mile away and know that they're wearing Helly Hansen. Most of their stuff is navy blue or red. It's color blocked in a very specific way. The one thing to know if you are searching for yourself, if you are going out skiing on a ski trip and you want to buy some ski gear secondhand, the one thing to know about Helly Hansen is that they are what is called in the industry Eurofit. And what I mean by Eurofit is straight. So like if you're shopping for a guy, it's not necessarily a concern, but if you are shopping for you or another woman, if you are curvy in any way, if you have a big bust, if you have hips, Helly Hansen may not be the brand for you. I have recommendations for other brands that will work for you. Obermeyer in particular, they really cut beautifully for curves, but Helly Hansen tends to be quite straight. Anyway, so I had this listed for $28 for just 1 month. My sidekick had sent an offer for $25, which was accepted. And with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $16.98. Again, Helly Hansen is a brand I will pick up anytime I see it. It's really good quality stuff. And this is again, the smallest of the pieces I've ever picked up from them, and it sold really quickly. It's one of those brands that like sells itself. People know who Helly is, and they seek it out. Next up is this cute top from Wishlist. I think Wishlist is just a boutique brand. It's this pretty crochet, bell sleeve, kind of scoop neck shirt. These are the kind of things that you see in like tourist boutiques. Like again, I just got back from Southeast Asia and I saw a million like kimonos just like this. But they do sell at those like tourist boutiques for, $50, $60, $70. They're not cheap, but they are, again, boutique brands. So they're the kind of things that, again, if you're sourcing for a higher dollar amount, this might not be something I would play in. But if you're sourcing for $1, $2, these things sell for me all day. This one I've had for a while because I think it's a tunic, not necessarily a kimono. I have sold a million of these kimonos. A million of them. I've sold so many of them. I'm sure you have seen so many of them on my channel if you've watched. And they look more expensive than they are, right? Like to me, they look like something that would be, if I didn't know better, if I didn't see a lot of them, I would say that these would be worth, you know, $100 or more. You know, they look nice and they make an outfit really special. They're also, especially the kimonos, they're great for like a swim cover up that can also be something that you throw on over like a tank top for dinner. So Wishlist, I would not say that that is a brand to be on the lookout for. It's just one of the brands that sells stuff like this. But when you see stuff like that, check it over for holes. They do tend to be a little bit on the delicate side. But if you are able to source at that bins price, that outlet price, that $1, $2, $3, I would do that all day with these things, especially the kimonos. So I had this listed, this one again, I had for about a year. I had it listed at $24. Got an offer for $18. I was ready to move this one on. And with the $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $13.30. And that's about, just so you know, as you're outsourcing, if you get the kimonos, you're gonna see probably $15 to $20 on them. Again, if you're sourcing for $1, that's probably plenty of profit for you. But if you're sourcing for $4, $5, I would maybe stay away. But for me, I will pick up those kimonos all day. Next up, this is one that I knew would go really quickly. This is We The Free, nice little thermal Henley with those nice tall chunky cuffs. And this feels brand spanking new. Free People stuff is usually intentionally distressed, but this still feels like brand new. There's like no wear to the raw edges whatsoever. It doesn't look like it's been washed multiple times. I love this color. It's like a perfect mid-weight. And these We The Free tops, we've talked about it before. I will pick these up anytime I see them. They sell so fast for me. We The Free in particular, like I always say, it's We The Free sells the fastest for me, followed by FP1, Free People 1, followed by Intimately and maybe Free People Movement, depending on the piece. They're kind of tied, and then regular Free People sells probably the slowest for me out of any of the Free People house brands. There's Freest in there that I don't see a ton of, and I really don't have enough data to kind of say that it sells quick or not. But We The Free, especially their t-shirts and their kind of Henley tops like this, I will grab them every time I see them, especially at a bins price. I would also say, like, I would be comfortable telling people to pick these up at $5, $6, $7, even just a t-shirt, because the t-shirts sell for like kind of a minimum of $18 for me, and I've sold many of for full price. So of the Free People pieces that we see out there, these are the ones that I'm usually most excited to find. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love finding the really special beaded Free People pieces because they're special and beautiful, but when it comes to like moving faster in my closet and making a quick profit, these are the ones that I find the most effective. So I had this listed for $34, and my sidekick sent an offer for $30 after just 1 week. And with a $1 cost at the bins, this brought my profit to $20.98. So in and out of my closet in a heartbeat. That's how I love these to go. Next up here, this is a little top from Laundry by Helly Hansen. Look at that. That, my friends, is the sound of paillettes. I love the way that these look. They do tend to be a little bit softer to the feel because they're only attached to one side than sequins, but they give you all of that same flash. So Laundry is one of those brands sold, I want to say, like Saks Fifth Avenue. It's super high end. It doesn't resell for like, you know, Saks Fifth Avenue prices, but the quality is always really nice. A lot of their evening wear is silk. It's just, you know, it's a high quality brand. This is just a little camisole, but it was in perfect condition, so I had to pick it up when I found it. It's a knit base. It's like a little sweater top. I love these kind of dressier like tops. I guess you could call them going out tops. It is still just so bizarre to be seeing like the Y2K stuff in such high demand on the secondhand market. It is, I guess that's something that every generation goes through, but man, the Y2K era was pretty tacky. I mean, like, let me know if you agree. Please let me know. There was a lot of pleather. And pleather looks good on almost nobody. So doesn't mean we didn't wear it, but we wore it proudly. I distinctly remember a night at Webster Hall wearing pleather pants. It was not a good scene, but I thought I looked so good. I felt like I looked like I just stepped off of the pages of like Cosmopolitan magazine. Spoiler alert, I did not, but in my mind, I was there. Anyway, so I had this listed for about 7 months, $34, and I got an offer for $29, which I gladly accepted. With the $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $22.20. I'll pick up those going out tops anytime I see them, especially from a brand like Laundry. It's just really well made, and again, I just think it adds that like little special pop, especially when you find like a basic that's got like a shine to it. I'm in. Next up, this is another J.Jill piece. This is a tunic. It's a beautiful like aubergine purple. It's that gorgeous tencel. I think it's called, yeah, their Luxe Tencel. I think that they also call this their like Tranquility Fleece. It is a size medium, again, going back to that size thing, but I'll still pick these up in medium. I just prefer to pick them up a little bit bigger when I do see them. And if you are sourcing for a higher dollar amount, or if you have an even more limited storage situation than me, I would try to only pick up things that are a little bit bigger. I know that J.Jill is always gonna sell for me though, so always a good bet for me. And this is so soft. So soft. We're getting into like legging season. We're getting into tunic season. So this is the kind of thing that you know is gonna, like once you hit fall, this is the kind of thing that'll sell pretty quickly. So I have this one listed at $32. I had it listed for about 6 or 7 months. I think I picked this up in like March or April. Hard to believe that that was 6 or 7 months ago. So I had it listed for $32 and I got an offer for $22, which I did accept. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $17.24. Ooh, I hope she loves it. That is just such a cozy top. That tencel is like dreamy. Next up, oh, this was a fun one. So this is a vintage sweater dress. I mean, like, look at this dusty purple. Can you even handle it? I'm gonna guess that this is late 70s, early 80s. It's high neck, it's got a zip back, it's got these little puff sleeves, and the puff sleeves are made with like a little ruffle that's underneath the shoulder, not necessarily a shoulder pad. So it is midi length. I don't know how much you can see it. It's midi length and it's drop waist. So this is something, I mean, like, give me a great condition vintage dress anytime, I'm gonna pick it up. I've had a ton of interest in this, and this is the kind of thing that, like, as we're getting into the holiday season, because this is such like an of the era kind of dress, I would use things like 80s costume, 80s office wear, you know, big business, whatever. I think about the kind of movies that you would see a dress like this in, and then use those keywords accordingly. This has a knit, there was no tags on the inside, but this has a knit that feels very similar to St. John, which is like an 80% wool knit. If memory serves me right, it's wool and like nylon. People like it because it does tend to keep its shape pretty well. So it gives it a little bit more of a structured look than like a freeform knit. But these are the kind of things that I know are always gonna take a little bit longer to sell, but I'll pick them up just because they're vintage, right? They're vintage and they're hard to come by. Something like this, you can't like search for like a purple puff sleeve, midi length, wool blend knit dress from the 80s and expect to find lots of options, right? So no matter what, I'm gonna pick these up, even if they have a little bit of damage to them, because again, they're just hard to find. And 9 times out of 10, something like this isn't necessarily going to like be somebody's wardrobe. This will likely be going to be a costume for somebody. But anyway, this was in great condition and I absolutely loved it. That purple is so gorgeous. So I had this listed for just about a year at $35, got an offer for $29, which I gladly accepted with a $1 cost of the bins. Brought my profit to $24 even. Now, if this was a little bit of a fancier piece, there was some more detail to it, whatever, this probably would have been more in the $40, $50 range. And if it was like a St. John, that would be in like the $100 to $150 range. And finally, I can't believe I found this in the bins. This is a cashmere robe duster. I'm not quite sure. I scoured the internet top to bottom and I could not find anything similar to this, which makes me think that it might actually be a cashmere duster, not necessarily a robe, despite the fact that it is long like a robe. But it's got like an integrated tie, so it doesn't like have a belt tie, it just kind of ties on the side. It is in beautiful condition. I could not find a maker to save my life. If you look up by the back of the neck, where the tag would normally be, there's no remnants of a tag, which tells me that it was probably a tacked on tag, which speaks to quality, right? Like, it's not a cheap way to attach a tag, which speaks to quality. That generally means it was probably a higher end designer. And everything I could find in the cashmere robe world or cashmere duster this length was between $400 and $700. Unfortunately, I didn't know what it was and I didn't know who made it, so I just did my best with keywords. But something like this, if you can find one that's got like a known name that people know and people search, I mean, you're looking at $150 easy on the resale market. Cashmere robes are just, they're not easy to come by, and if you do find them, they're extremely expensive. And I'm gonna say $400 to $600 on the low end. I think I found maybe 1 or 2 brands that were in the $200 to $300 range, but for the most part, most of them were $400 to $600 and some into the thousands. Cashmere is just that stinking expensive. And I mean, like, talk about luxury, right? Like, how luxurious to have a full-on cashmere robe. So this one I had listed for just 4 days. And I know a ton of you had expressed interest on it, and it got snapped up super quickly. So I had this listed at $89. Again, I didn't know the brand, so I priced it accordingly. I didn't even know specifically if it was a robe or not a robe. So I did my best anyway. I had it listed for $89 and within 4 days got an offer for $75.65, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost, this brought my profit to $66.26. And I hope she loves it. It's just fabulous, and one of those things that, like, otherwise she would be paying multiple hundreds of dollars for that. So that makes me happy. But that is it for the shipment today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging with me while I literally get my work done. Thank you for bearing with my raggedy, jet-lagged self right now. I feel like I look crazy. I feel crazy. My brain just doesn't know where I am or what day it is. But thank you again for hanging with me while I get this done. If you had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you along for this journey. But without further ado, guys, have the most beautiful week. Happy hunting, and I will see you in the next one.